Good morning, students, and welcome to the class of English. Today, Pankaj Singh Thapa, PGT English, is here again, and today I'm going to discuss a poem that is Father to Son from English book Hornbill for grade 11th by Elizabeth Jennings. So let's start. The poem Father to Son is written by Elizabeth Jennings, and the poem is about the anguish of a father who doesn't have a good relationship with his son. His son is now grown up and is busy in his life. The father is bitter about the generation gap between them and the feeling of separation. He shares his feelings by saying he doesn't know much about him and there is no sign of understanding. He wants their relationship to be just like when his son was a child. He is trying his best to resolve the issue, but he is in vain. Means useless. Therefore, they are drifting apart. Children, this poem mainly focuses on the changing relationships between father and son. Generally, father and son share a very warm relation. They are actually close friends to each other. But as the time passes and the child gets aware and known about the outside world, what happens sometimes, it so happens that he is not in the condition of having the same bond with his father as he used to have when he was a child, when he used to walk holding the fingers of his father, when he used to share every joy and sorrow with his father. And how come this gap comes? This is the main thing which we'll learn through this poem. Maybe this gap could be of the generation gap. That is, father belongs to one generation back and son is of new generation. Maybe the son considers that his father doesn't understand him. And mainly, what I feel, children, that some kind of lack of understanding is there in between father and son. Although father, who is always a loving creature, wants that their relationship must be like when his son was a child, when he used to give him complete affection. Father is trying to solve this issue, but it is useless. Therefore, they are moving apart. The poem is about the agony or pain of a father when he rants about the unsettling relationship with his son, who is now a grown up. He shares that although they had lived together in the same house for years, he doesn't understand him. Although they have lived under the same roof, they have shared the same roof, but the bond which should be there is not there. He doesn't know anything about his child, even if he tried to build up a relationship with him like the one when he was a small child. But everything turned out to be useless. He further says that even if his son looks like him, yet he doesn't know what he loves. He acknowledges the communication gap and lack of understanding between them, and they speak like strangers. His son is in a different place which he cannot assess due to the increasing gap. Now, the father here says that the son is, in fact, the copy of his father. But the mental way of thinking is totally different. What the father loves, the son denies, and what the father loves, or the son loves. In fact, it is unacceptable for the father. His son is in a different place which he cannot access due to the increasing gap, and the silence between them keeps on increasing. He is ready to forgive his prodigal son. He wants to accept him back to the house, the one which he always knew. He doesn't want his son to move around the world. He is longing to love him. Prodigal son children here means the son, after moving out of the world of his father, tried his luck in the outside world, but due to some reasons, he could not succeed and is now back defeated. But here is the role of father, which is a big one. The father is ready to accept his child back in the house, the place which is a well known place for the son. Father doesn't want his son to move around the world, and he is longing to love him. The son finally speaks up and shares what he feels. He is at a stage where he cannot understand himself. He feels grief about the growing distance between them, and he is angry due to the grief and sadness. They put out an empty hand towards each other, but none of them holds it. They want to forgive each other, yet couldn't find a solution to the problem. As son is back, experiencing the outside world, and when he compares the outside world with his father or with his family, he feels that parents are always parents, whether they are strict or they are very caring. Even a strict father has the same bonding with his son. He loves his son or daughter the same way as a caring father does. But the difference is that the disciplined and strict father doesn't reveal what he feels about. And there comes a problem. Children think that the father is having a different attitude, which does not match with their own, and then they depart with each other. Now, after experiencing the outside world, son is back, and both of them are empty handed. Now, children, why empty handed? Because son has lost in the outside world. Maybe any reason. He's a defeated one. And father, because he has lost his son. Now both are empty handed and both have given hands to each other. But none of them holds it. They want to forgive each other, but they couldn't find a solution to the problem. Means, who will give it a start? So now let's understand this poem stanza wise. I do not understand this child, though we have lived together now. In the same house for years, I know nothing of him. So try to build up a relationship from how he was when small, yet have I killed. Children, the poet says that the father is in agony, he is anguished. And what he says that I do not understand this child. Though the son and the father have lived together in the same house for years, yet they know nothing about each other. So father is trying to build up a relationship with the young child, the same relationship which he had when his son was small. Yet have I killed the seed I spent or sown it, where the land is his and none of mine. We speak like strangers. There's no sign of understanding in the air. This child is built to my design, yet what he loves I cannot share. Father asks, have I killed the seed I spent myself or I sown myself? Actually, son is a kind of seed which the father has sown many years back. Now he is asking a question. Have I killed that seed? Because its plant is not according to his liking. In other words, you can say it has turned out to be a weed. The land is his and none of mine. Actually, the problem is seed was sown by the father, but the land belonged to the son. Because children, every child is born with his destiny. Parents are there to just nourish you. Father and son speak like strangers, and there is no sign of understanding in the air. They don't understand each other. This child is built to my design. Means, if the father wanted his child to be an engineer or a doctor, yes, he was this. But what his son loves, the father cannot share. Children, it's a very big problem in the young generations, the modern generation. They feel that they should be free from any kind of stress, restriction. They must fly in the air. But the parents want that their children should be disciplined. They must follow a disciplined life. But it doesn't happen. And then there starts a gap in between both of them. And it keeps on increasing day by day because likings are different and then they follow different path. Actually, parents are on the same path, but a little child, when he was small, he was following the parents' path, but when he grows up, he follows a different path of his own without knowing that what it would lead to. Silence surrounds us. I would have him prodigal, returning to his father's house, the home he knew, rather than see him make and move his world. I would forgive him too, shaping from sorrow a new love. So instead of a warm relationship, a warm discussion, a warm conversation, a happy conversation, sharing of feelings, nothing like that. Silence usually prevails in between father and son. Although son has returned back defeated to his father's house, and actually that was the only place the son knew. Now, rather than see him make and move his world, father is ready to forgive his son. And he feels that even though our happiness will come out of sorrow, but we would have a better relationship and a new love will develop from sorrow. Father and son, we both must live on the same globe and the same land. He speaks. I cannot understand myself why anger grows from grief. We each put out an empty hand, longing for something to forgive. Father believes that he and his son should live on the same globe, although they are living on the earth only. But there is so much differentiation that it appears that both are on different planet. He speaks, I cannot understand. So whatever the son says, father is not able to understand. And the father is not able to understand himself also, that why anger grows from grief. Means first the father is sorrowful and then he turns out to be angry. Father and son both are ready to accept each other. They are both ready to rebuild their relationship, and they are both ready to forgive each other. So they put out their empty hands. Father's hand was empty because son was his own son, and son's hand was empty because he was a defeated one. But neither of them was in the position to hold each other's hand. So that was all about the children poem. Now let's study some literary devices of this poem. Simile is the first figure of speech which has been used in this poem, because there is a comparison. It shows similarities between two things. Like we speak like strangers. So you know very well, when simile is there is use of as and like, and we compare two things. So in this line, when we speak like strangers, there is simile. Alliteration, you know very well, occurrence of the same letter or sound, and that is especially consonant letter at the beginning of the closely connected words. For example, seed I spent or sown it where. So S sound is getting repeated. Similarly, silence surrounds us. So S sound is getting repeated. So here it is alliteration. Metaphor, again a device where there is comparison, but here it is indirect comparison between a quality shared by two persons or things. Alright, so what is the difference between simile and metaphor? Both the places comparison is there. In simile, direct comparison; in metaphor, indirect comparison. In simile, use of as and like, and in metaphor, indirect comparison is there. Example, the seed is spent or sown it where the land is his and none of mine. Here the seed is the son, alright, and the land is the life of the son. So here comparison is there, where there is no use of as and like. So children, that was all about this poem, Father to Son. Hope you have understood something. So for today, this much only. Thank you very much. Goodbye.